My husband is a beekeeper and we have like 5 hives. And when we first started, we didn't know about this group and our hives were a mini pit, but we were determined to succeed. And now we got to the point several years ago that our bees survived. We sell bees in our front, honey in our front yard. It is no longer a money pit. It actually pays for itself. So that was a bonus. Last year, Mark put a quart jar of honey in the refrigerator in the garage. And this spring, I finally cleaned out that refrigerator and I walk in there, it looked like lard. And I said, what is this? It doesn't smell like lard. And he said, oh, that's creamed honey. It creamed itself. So this is our first year selling creamed honey. And we use it as a starter. That stuff that was in the garage. And we still have a little bit of it left to make more creamed honey. And then Mark was making candles and people buy them. Not as many as we would hope, but they still purchase them because they smell delicious. And then I decided, what can I do? What can I use in my own home and then sell? And I decided that I was going to make waxed food cloths. Now, I'm still not to the point where I can sell them, but I'm really, really close. I've learned that this is how I heat my wax. It's on an induction stove because you can control the heat and I don't have to double boil it. And this is my dedicated pot that I use. When I'm done, I just turn it off. It gets hard. When I want to make some more and experiment, I just turn it on and it melts it. I use beeswax, jojoba oil, and natural pine rosin. That's my recipe. I have the amount, but you can find it on YouTube also. That's where I got mine. I have a dedicated spatula, and so far I've started using a roller, and you don't have to, it melts when you put it on here. When I first started, I would dip the cloth in my melted wax, and it was great, but it was just too much. It was just too much. And so then I decided, oh, I need a heated plate. So I went and bought this very large, skillet. And I cover it with a aluminum foil and it works. And the second time I used the roller and I used this and it was great, but it was too thin. The wax was too thin. I had this too hot. So now I actually put it on warm. That's all it needs to do this. And then I use the roller, and this is what I've come up with. And it's tacky, but if you're going to sell it, you want to make sure that it lasts. And one thing when you do sell it, you do not wash this in warm water. It needs to be cool water because, the heat of your hand actually melts the wax and make it stick to jars. So you can lay this on here, press it down, and then you just use the warmth of your hand. And what's really nice is you're getting away from plastic. And it's very popular right now. People are concerned about, I forget what kind of chemicals it is, but it does seep into your food. So these wraps are really nice. And I'm almost to the point. I've got one more thing to experiment. I'll still use this. I will maybe pour some wax on my cloth. There's a cloth that wasn't. And then I think I might get a tongue depressor and try smoothing it over. If that doesn't work, I'll just stick with what I got. So, and then it's always best. You want to make sure that the side that is sticking to your product has the most wax. So depending on how you're doing it, I like to use, I actually do it twice. I'm trying to get, now this right here, this is a fake sandwich. So you can, like, if you eat half an apple, you can wrap your apples or cut up stuff. You can send it in your kids' lunch. You can pack it in your own lunch. But this is a fake sandwich wrapped up. So you can use this instead of those bags, which is very nice. And it still sticks to itself. The thing that I found that when you're working with this, I use this to help lift it, but your fingers get so, that wax and that rosin is just awful. So when I finish this on the edge of my counter, I will let it dry like this. And then a few seconds later, it's dry, you just take it off. And then you can fold it. But I've got 3 different sizes that I'm going to sell as a kit. So one for big things, this size for bigger bowls, and then this size. So, so my fingers would get so nasty, and I don't care how much you wash them and scrub them with a nail brush, it's not coming off. Always use coconut oil, wash your hands with coconut oil. And don't double dip, because you don't want stuff growing in here. But you just take a little scoop, it doesn't take much, you just take a little scoop, you rub it all over your hands, get a paper towel or a Kleenex, wipe it off, and then wash it, because you don't want all this stuff in your septic tank either. Oh, if you have a septic tank, or pipes. If you have plumbing, you don't want this in it. So you wipe it off before you wash your hands with soap.
Any questions?
Oh, any questions? Yeah.
I'm just store.
Oh, what's really nice is they will, if it's too thick, then they'll actually stick and rip it off when you go to use it. If it's too thin, you can fold it and they'll never stick that hard to each other. But this is perfect. This is how I will sell mine. I'll fold it over like this, and then I'll have a piece of cardboard to fold it in so it's all natural. And then I will do the other ones and put them on top. But when you saw how I did the sandwich, they'll come apart. If you do this right, they'll come apart, and then you can, it'll still last. People complain when, I know that people have complained when they bought it. And they said that they weren't good at first, and then they just stopped sticking. And that I want people to buy more from me. So that's why I don't want the wax too thin. I don't want it too thick, because I want that.
It's gotta be a mama bear, just right.
It's gotta be just right. And they have to understand you cannot wash it in warm water. It's cool. You can use soap, but it's gotta be cool water.
It's when you wash it, you use it to wash it.
Mm-hmm.
Cool water,
Yeah.
let it dry.
Yeah.
Then when you fold it, put it in the drawer.
You can fold it, put it in a drawer, but yeah, I don't know if I'd put it in a drawer, because I would be using these all the time. And you don't want lint. What drawer? If you have a dedicated drawer, you don't want lint. If you put it in your dish towel drawer. Oh yeah. And see, what's really nice is this is almost perfect. So I just have one more experiment to do, and then we're going to sell these in our front yard. So our bees are going to be working. Not as much as yours, Keith, but if you can get your bees to pay for themselves, and then be able to buy those jars and buy an extractor or buy whatever you want and not feel the pain. We put all of our honey money into a honey jar, and every cent we make, we have to buy bottles, we use that. We have to buy something on the internet for the bees, I take that money out. So it is nice not having a money pit. Any other questions? Yes.
Right, a different fabric.
It's cotton and I always wash it. And then I iron it and then I cut it and then I do that zigzag. Cause it could shred, so I don't want a straight edge. But I use my rotary cutter and then I'll go and do the edges. I'm sure that there's an easier, faster way, but right now I'm at the beginning of it. So this is what I do. But I use cotton. And you can find cotton on sale at Joann Fabrics. And all of my fabric right now it's a bee theme. So maybe later it won't matter. So, any questions? Okay. Yeah.
And you just saying additive is we found what sells really well is the deepest practice class. To wrap up.
Oh, well, that's clever.
We didn't realize.
But you can't use that for food after. Oh, people like it's a great gift idea. Yeah. Yeah. And the reason why you add these things is in the old days, they used straight beeswax, but beeswax by itself will crack. So that's why we add the resin and the jojoba oil. So, and it does keep it pretty supple. So that's it.
Thank you.